Hello, this is The Keys live with Paige Williams. I'm your host, Paige Williams. I'm so happy you're here for our second episode, and hopefully the sound is working. Is it working? Hello, hello. I hope so. Let me know. All right, we are going to get started. Welcome to The Keys with Paige Williams. This is a live show about creative leadership and becoming all of yourself. We lead from truth, lead from wholeness, and we lead from creative power. We lead from becoming. I'm your host, Paige Williams. I am a transformational guide and executive coach. I've reinvented my life multiple times from social worker to documentary filmmaker to female tech founder and now executive coach, best-selling author, and speaker. Every evolution that I went through required the exact same internal shift. And that shift became my framework that I coach from, the 12 Creative Keys. And this is the space where we practice living with them. So today we're going to talk about reinvention and threshold moments. Reinvention is not about strategy first, it's more about identity. And most of us are not stuck because we lack skill. We're stuck because we are protecting a version of ourselves that once kept us safe. And before we begin, I'm just still building out the live call in technology. We're close. But in the meantime, you can text the show or leave a message at 1-801 The Keys. That's 1-801-843-5397. And I will respond to your question in a future show. Your questions shape this space. I deeply appreciate them. So please call in or text the show. And tonight we have two questions that are really important and meaningful. And I'm excited to be able to answer these questions. So, caller one was Holly. And Holly asked about leaving her community after 17 years. And she's moving from a mid-sized town to a very large city, a much larger city. And her question is really about identity. It's, who am I in this city? How am I going to make new friends? What happens to the friends I'm leaving behind? Um, like me, she's scared of rejection, new people. She doesn't know anyone. She's afraid of loneliness. And she can feel that inside part of her that just wants to be loved and included, just like I would feel and just like you would feel. I've lived in my community since 1999. So if I just picked up and moved to a new city, I would have so many questions and so much fear and so much like, oh my God, who am I going to be when I'm in that new space? I can be anyone, which was part of Holly's question. So who am I in this new space? And she's really asking, how do I step into this new chapter without performing? How do I build relationships and integrity instead of overthinking who I need to be? So, first, Holly, I just want to say thank you for calling into the show and leaving your question. It was really vulnerable and it was very kind and it was very insightful. And noticing that your inner child is feeling scared is a really important step. This is not just a move. This is identity shedding. You've been Holly in your town for 17 years, and now you're moving to a new town. And you're wondering, who's this new Holly? You're leaving 17 years of history, familiar belongings, you're known there. And in a new city, you become unidentified again, maybe unknown again. And this is not insecurity, it is exposure. This is shedding, creative key 8, and the need for courage, creative key 2. So let's talk about that a little bit. You're taking a big, major step in your life, and I'm so proud of you. It is a huge step, and sometimes I think, "Oh my god, I would love to move to a new town where no one knows me." But then when I really think of the reality of that, I understand your fear and what is called for in this moment because you became willing, creative key 1, to make the move. Now creative key 2 is saying, "Let's add courage on top of this." And remember that the shadow emotion of creative key 2, courage, is fear, but the transformed emotion of that key is bravery. And you are taking a brave, bold step into a new place, into a new identity. Holly, who lives in this new town, versus Holly, who has been in this town of 17 years. That's no small thing. You're shedding place, you're shedding your home that you know, you're shedding your city, your community, your friendships, and you're stepping into something new. And when we shed, we have so much space, we have so much openness. And what comes after shedding is really important. That's intuition. And so you're giving yourself a huge gift because your life is going to get open and it's going to get spacious. And this is the threshold moment where you can get quiet with yourself and really listen to who you are now after the shedding of where you've been for 17 years. And my guess is you're just going to become even more of all of yourself. And it's going to take a lot of courage. And I understand that fear of loneliness. It's allowing yourself to be unknown again. And that little girl inside you who wants to be included, that's not a weakness. She's the part of you that values deep connection. So listen to her. And the fear of rejection or loneliness is just the cost of caring. So once again, we say, thank you, fear. I see you, but I'm going to be brave and I'm going to have courage and move into this situation without knowing where the path is going to lead me. We're always grasping on trying to understand what the path is. But the truth is that we can have the best laid plans, but we never know exactly what's going to happen. Our world and our earth is always changing. So, of course, we're always changing. And that's a part of being human. And as long as we can accept that we don't know what's going to happen, then fear takes a breath and courage comes in. Notice what your brain is doing. It's strategizing. In that call, you're talking about strategy. Who should I be? How should I present? And what I want to encourage you to do is to think of this shift in a creative way, in a curious way, versus a controlling way, versus like a, what are my best laid plans? Where am I going to meet people? How am I going to present myself? It's more of like, how might I find a community that feels like me? How might I spend some time with myself to get to know myself even better? These are all fun questions of where to meet people and where to connect with people and form new relationships without the old strings attached. So instead of asking, who do I need to be so that they like me? You can ask, where do I feel most like myself? So shift from outcome to your environment. Find shared activities, find shared values. Find groups of shared interest. Because belonging forms faster around shared experience than forced connections. And remember, loneliness is not a sign that you made the wrong move. It's a bridge emotion. It's in the threshold. It's in the hallway moment. It's the space between who you were in your old town and who you're about to be in your new town. And the real courage is letting yourself be new without performance, without auditioning. And it's such a gift because you're getting to show up in your community as you today. Now, I don't know about you, but there's a lot of people in my community who know me. And if I got to show up in a new community as just Paige as I am today, that actually feels light. It feels manageable. And I know that you're probably really good at being with yourself. And so enjoy that time. It's going to be a deepening with yourself, with your partner. And then as you go places where people share your value system and your interests, and you just get curious about their lives, then you get the opportunity to share your life. And I believe that if you have been called to this new community, there is a reason. And there are all these people who are going to get to know you. And what a gift, because only you are you. And if you hadn't moved, they wouldn't have known you. So, congratulations. Moves are no small feat. And there's so much excitement and enjoyment and new, fresh energy around this move for you. And just approach it with curiosity and creativity. And remember that shedding is hard, but it creates so much space. And take in courage in order to cross through this threshold. You've totally got this. Call back sometime. Let us know how it went. And thank you for your call, Holly. Again, I'm Paige Williams, and this is The Keys with Paige Williams Live. You can call into the show at 1-801 The Keys or 801-843-5397. You can call in or you can text a question. And this is also going into a weekly podcast. So throughout the week, you can listen to the show, you can watch it, and text and call in your questions, and then I'll answer them on the next show. Our show is going to be live on YouTube Sundays at 4 p.m. Pacific. Okay, caller number 2 came from Krista. And again, I'm still working out the technology, but I'm listening to the messages, paraphrasing them for you, and then giving you my answer. So, Krista called in about the client who just appeared. Krista intentionally simplified her business. She had been doing marketing, she had been trying to get new clients, and all of a sudden she decided to shift and go a different direction and simplify her business. And she committed to that new direction. She created space in her life to do more creative projects, to be a mom, to be able to take appointments. And the moment that Krista decided to simplify her business and not do any marketing, a new client just appeared without effort. And she is asking, do I take this client? Even though I told the universe no more clients, I need to free up my calendar. Is this aligned expansion? Or is this my old identity trying to pull me back into what I said I was releasing and letting go? Thank you for your question, Krista. I had a similar example of this where I said, you know what? I'm closing my tech company, Odd Pop. I am done. I am letting it go in the year of 2025 so that I can ride fast into the fire horse energy of 2026. And as soon as I said it, as soon as I told my lawyer I was closing it, I got a call that said, what if I gave you another investment of $500,000? Oof. And I just paused. And so, my first advice is to just pause and notice how your body feels when you have made a decision and it gets tested. Is this expansion, or is this testing my truth? This is not about the client. This is not about closing a business. This is about discernment at a threshold. You made a decision. Krista, you committed and you created space. And then life as life does responded. This is not random. This happens all of the time to us. This is when we stop grasping, our energy changes, and life responds to that energy change. So the real question is this: when you're deciding if you want to take this client or not, who would I have to become to say yes? Who would I have to become to say no? So when we look at these two questions, we're dealing with two creative keys. That's surrender, creative key 4, and taking aligned action, creative key 10. So when you made the decision to simplify your life, you were in surrender because something had to change. And so you surrendered your calendar. You surrendered the efforts of marketing, which can take up so much time that it drains the spiritual energy of what you're really trying to do out in the world. And you said, you know what? Never mind. Never mind. If it's going to drain who I am and who I am becoming, I don't even want to do marketing. And the world said, okay, you created space. Here's a client. This client came without any marketing to Krista. And what I think it's telling Krista is you don't have to perform. You just have to be. You just have to be all of yourself. And your clients and the right people are going to show up for you. It does not mean that you go back to marketing. In fact, I would say that this says lay it down and lay it down even deeper. The less marketing you do, I bet the more space you create. And so the more right people show up. And then if you want to take those people, you must ask yourself, if I take this client, does it expand me or does it shrink me? And then listen to how it feels in your body. Are you being a gift to be of service to someone? Or are you abandoning yourself by taking over responsibility with someone? Those are two very different things. And only you can answer whether you should take this client or not. I can only lead you with the right question, with creativity and with curiosity. Who are you becoming if you take this client? Who are you becoming if you don't take this client? Not every opportunity that arrives after a surrender like you had is a test, but every single opportunity is a mirror. It will show you whether you trust your becoming. And the deeper question is this: am I expanding by taking this client? Or am I postponing my true becoming by taking this client? Both of these questions are about your identity and who you are becoming. And I want to ask all of you, who am I when I am no longer who I was? And who am I when something new arrives? When we surrender, creative key 4, life opens. Life gets simpler. Krista was marketing to get clients and it was draining her. It was killing her soul. It was killing her purpose. She wasn't available for her family. She even had health problems because of it. But then as soon as she surrendered that marketing, a client came in. Isn't that something? And what I want to tell you is that that is how life works. Life tells us who we are. Our bodies and our identities tell us who we are, whether we are marketers or not, whether we are coaches or not, whether we are entrepreneurs or not. And we are always changing, just like the earth, just like the seasons. We are always changing. We are always becoming who I am today, not who I was yesterday. And isn't it a gift to be like, I can't do this kind of marketing anymore. It's not who I am. And to surrender it, and then for the client to come in, what a gift. What if you never marketed again? What would happen? And would you be more of yourself in that world than pretending and performing that you have to be a marketer on top of your business that you've created that has nothing to do with marketing? You see, when we come into aligned action with being all of who we are and all of who we are supposed to be, the world aligns for us. The world just aligns for us. And it leads to creative key 12, which is awakening. And the shadow emotion of key 12 awakening is numbness. But the transformed, beautiful emotion of creative key 12 is awe. And when we're living our lives in aligned action and being all of ourselves, even down to the marketing, we can live in awe. And when we get out of alignment, our bodies suffer, our families suffer, our community suffers. So you want to change the world? You change yourself. Back to Holly. You take courageous leaps and you move. You shed old identities and you trust in the intuition of just being yourself. And the right people are going to show up for you. All you are called to do is to be you. And going back to Krista, thank you for your question. Why did I surrender something and then something showed up? Is this a test? I don't know, but it is a mirror. And when you're weighing and measuring whether you should do something in your business, you have to ask yourself, am I all of myself if I do this? Do I expand if I do this? Or do I contract? Do I go inside? Do I feel awe if I take this person on? Or do I feel less? And only you can answer those questions, because here's the deal. The key lives inside of you. I'm just here as your guide, your transformational guide, and your executive coach. If you are navigating a threshold moment, text or leave a message at 1-801-THE-KEYS. If you'd like to work with me, there are several ways to go deeper. I do vision mapping sessions. They're 90-minute focus sessions on a threshold moment you're looking to explore and get clarity on. If you're approaching a growth edge, these are great one-on-one sessions. They're very meaningful. You can also step into one-on-one coaching with me. We do a leadership council with 6 to 8 women. You can get on the waiting list for that. And you can find out all about my offerings on my website, paigewilliams.co. I'm going to launch a 12-month leadership mastermind for 6 women. It's going to be by invitation only, but make sure that I get to know you and leave a question so that we get the right 6 women curated for this 12-month process. We're going to go deeper into identity architecture work, long-term mentorship, and strategic expansion that is rooted in creative leadership. All of this is at paigewilliams.co. Next time, next Sunday at 4 p.m. Pacific time, we are going to go deeper into narrative intelligence and the story that's quietly running your life and your leadership. This one beneath your goals, the one beneath your performance, the story that you're telling yourself. So if you have a question about the story that you're telling yourself specifically, please call or text 1-801-THE-KEYS. If you do not author that story consciously, it will author you. If something stirred in you tonight, that's not hype, that is alignment. And that is the part of you that is tired of performing. Creative leadership begins when you stop outsourcing your authority. Remember, you own the permission slip, and you can write as many permission slips as you desire. This is The Keys, and I'm Paige Williams, and we are learning how to be all of ourselves. See you next week.